Hi, everyone. Welcome to Africa Fire Mission's weekly virtual trainings. My name is Nancy Moore. I'm the co-founder and director of programs for Africa Fire Mission. We are so glad that each one of you have joined us today and look forward to providing you an excellent training with Richard on hose operations. And we continue to expand our instructor base. So always excited when we're able to have local instructors. If that's something that you're interested in, you can let Jose know about that interest. In the meantime, I just want to remind you to keep yourself muted during the presentation, but also to utilize the chat for any questions or any comments. We'd love for you to introduce yourself there. And without any further waiting, we'll let Jose get us started with some words of encouragement.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for having us, and welcome so much, Richard, for in today's session. Well, today the encouragement is basically just to challenge us to get into the next level, and this next level is basically telling yourself when you get into the firehouse, what am I going to do different, or what am I going to do to enhance the skill that I have? And the reason why I'm saying that is today I decided to take myself to the next level. And it is not easy. The next level is never easy. It has new challenges and new ways that you do things, because it will take your energy, it will take your zeal, and you'll feel like you just need to go back to the comfort zone. If you need to grow or to go to the next level, if you need to go to the next level, you need to take yourself to new frontiers. Well, I won't reveal what I was doing, because it's something that we're working on. It's still in progress, but soon you're going to get to know what it's all about. So without further ado, even as we learned today about hoses, it's also take yourself to the next level with these hoses, with the knowledge of hoses and things that we're going to be being taught today. Okay, so I'll say a short prayer and then I will hand it over to Richard. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity today, yet another Wednesday. Lord, thank you for our instructor, Richard. Thank you for our participant firefighters and also disaster managers. We are grateful for this great opportunity. I pray this all, trusting and believing in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Richard, the ball is on your court. Take it away, my brother.
Thank you so much, guys, for giving me this chance. I know it's so much to be there, but hopefully we are going to run something out of today's lesson. We are dealing with fire hose or hose maintenance, and I hope the topic will be good for you guys, and hopefully we learn something. I know it's sunny for us. For me, I'll be working on I'm on my shift today. So you might hear some few things going up and down, but they'll be okay. And with that, I would like us to start with the topic today. And in a minute, the slide will be coming on. So that we can continue. Thank you everyone for coming up. Madam Nancy, I would like you to share the notes because I cannot access them. Maybe I have a poor network with the online, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. today these are some of the learning objectives that we have. If you look at the firehouse or the fire engine for the fireplace, we have basic needs. We have the basis of, we use hoses and hose lead to extinguish fire, so that we can be able to carry water from the engine to the scene of fire. Here, the objective of this lesson today is to help ourselves to understand or to have a recap of what we'll be doing, and to learn from one another and be able to see the best thing we can do for ourselves. Okay, these are in short, these just explain the uses of hose, what we have with the hoses that we have in our station. We have the type of hoses that we have supply hose, and then we have the attack hose. The supply hose, these are the supply hoses, are the hoses that we draw water from a source, that is hydrant, water pools, levers, and the like. Then the attack hoses, these are the hoses that now from the engine and carries the water to the fire, where the fire is. They may have water, they have foam. Here is where the attack hoses, that's where we have hose lead, also they are included in the same. And these are the aid with now as we go more on and on. The next slide, please. With the hoses, we have different types of hose construction, or what makes up the hose. You find out like hoses, most of the hoses that we have are flexible, they are watertight, they have smooth rubber, or they have an Efron lining, and we have that are covered by a durable jacket. The durable jacket is an example is the hose lead, or even the hard suction hoses. We will go to the next point is single jacket, double jacket. Single jacket simply means the hose with one lining. It doesn't have a double lining. And the double line, the other double lining, it's more of hose lead, which is more about it's heavy. It has a heavy thing. Then it's not. You cannot compress. It cannot be compressed, or when you step it on it, so it cannot go down. Then we have the rubber jacket, the hard rubber, the plastic, or the non-collapsible. These are the hoses that we use in suction hoses, and which they have spirals inside them. They have kind of wire inside of them that is engulfing them. That makes it when you're doing suctioning, they can't collapse. They are not like most of them are not like now the attack hoses. That's why they have that hard cover so that they cannot go down. Next, please. We have different sizes of hose, and the size is measured by the diameter. For instance, what we have here is the 77 mil, or what we call the 75 mm, which is 3 inch. We have 75, we have 45, and we also have the 25. The hose lead is what is 25. Then we have the smaller size that is 45. These are examples of attack lines. Most of them are attack lines, and the choice of the diameter you use in a certain fire depends on the amount of water your vehicle is carrying, and also the size of the fire also. This helps in knowing the amount of water that is needed, plus the pressure from the fire engine pump to deliver the hose. Next. Here we have the size, the hose measurements. You have different. Now we have suctions supply. These are hoses that by the end of it, we get that they are very big. They're big so that they can be able to suck a lot of water from a source, maybe a river, a swimming pool, a tank, and also the water bases that are there. Then you have the soft-sleeved hoses. The soft-sleeved hoses, they mean that they are collapsed. They can be collapsed. If you can fold them in any dimension that you want. Then we have the hand functions. These are always very short, and most of them are heavy compared to the sanction supply and soft sleeve hoses. The hard section hose, it's a bit heavier, and it's more rigid than the other ones. This is helping it when you are drawing water from a water source. It's easier so that using the forces from the engine, with the engine will be able to have a flow of intake of water, and then we'll have water in the tank. The next slide. Then we have these, what we call, it's a continuation of what we have been doing. We have designs. We have what always guides us in most of the cases, the NFPA, and then we have the materials that are used to make the particular hose. If you look at the designs, design is a continuous hose, which means it doesn't have breakage. You don't have to join the hoses at most. And we have the coupling. Then you have to you can connect the hoses to a nozzle of a hydrant. Now that part when it comes to the couplings, the connection sites. Then we have one of the other side is you connect either to the pump or to the FDCs. Then you have the NFPA standards. Now we are on the standards. You have the NFPA standards, where most of them, where they give us the guidelines or the standards at which we can use the hoses. These can be shared in departments because the NFPA it's kind of a universal thing. So most of the time you find us using that. Then the materials that is used to make such the fire hoses, in most cases, it should be durable. It's not something that you go and use one time and then the hose is broken or it's damaged. Then we also have it should have rust proof. If you have an image of the fire engines that we have, the locker places that we place the hoses and the hose lids, most of them it's made up of metal. So such a hose should be in a position not to rust, such that it will not be damaged by it. Will have a bit of rust proof in it. And also we have various alloys. When it comes to alloys, these are the couplings. There are some who are made of the couplings. Some are made of aluminium, some are made of steel, some are made of hard, like the hard function ones. They are made of an alloy of aluminium and brushed. Go next. Then here we have hose couplings. These hose couplings, the fire hose couplings, these is just a mechanism that you use to join two hoses, either when functioning the water or when also or when putting out for fire. Sanctions, they have different make. One of them is cast. Cast is a particular alloy of it's a combination of some elements that is used to. The good thing with it is most of them, the good thing with them is because they are rust proof, because they have a bit of aluminium with them, so they are rust proof. Then they have drop forge. The drop forge is when they don't break easily. It has to most of the time it will give you that time, like it will give you the extent of couplings. When you're using them, we know that they always sometimes they always drop from our sides, and also they go down. So these are some of the things that the manufacturer will always look, and these are some of things that they always help us to choose the best couplings for our stations. And then we have the type, we want to look about some types of couplings. We have threaded couplings. These mostly they are used for here. Most of the time we find them on the sanction hoses. The sanctions that they have the thread, and you can be able to use you have the pipe, the wrenches, they have the sanction wrenches that you can help to tighten them. Then if you look at the two couplings, it has a male and a female. We can be able to differentiate. The two have the male is what have now the outer part of the thread, and the female part has the inner side of the coupling. That's when now it's threaded, so that you can tie them. The advantage of this type of it has an advantage because if you tie them well and nicely, you won't have ricks. But now they also have a disadvantage. The disadvantage is when you are underlying the hose, we tend to step on one side of the hose so that we can move on. So you find out by the end of the day, by the time the hose is unrolling, there's a time which you drag. You can drag it on hard surface, maybe on floors, and then the threads will be damaged. So it won't be effective for you to use. So they have advantage because they have some both advantages and disadvantages, and that is why most of the time you always find them in some hard sanctions, because hard sanction is easier to carry. It's short, then it's not flexible, it's rigid, so that you can be able to use it on time. Go next. This is just a caution on what we have said about when you're connecting the couplings, make sure you connect them correctly. And if they're the threaded one, make sure you tighten them well, because as the branchman or the foreman is going to extend that he's on the fire, the coupling might interlock and then it gets off. So to avoid the damage of the hose and also the injuries as we extinguish the fire. That is why we always say, please, if you're connecting, make sure you connect them safely to avoid damage of the board of the stem. Next. This is just an this also calls on the sizes and the couplings. This is just to show you how much, if you look at this part, it's cut due to the damage that is done. It's a damage that will be done from the coupling. Either it's dropped, it's dragged on hard floors. These also have they have different sizes and shapes. We'll see as we move on. This brings to the other sizes, the other coupling types. We have one pin. The most that we have locally here is the pin line, which now you have to pull and then it gets out. So that's okay. That's what we use in our local fire station. We have the resist rug. The resist rug is these are the other they have an interlocking mechanism. You will see another picture of it. Then you have the locker lug. It has the locks and then it's just clamped and then you pull them together and then you'll be able to use them well. Now here it comes. Now this is the non-threaded couplings. Have with the locks or with the clamps. We have one that is, or what we call the sexless. They don't have either a male or a female, or what we call the hermaphrodite. They have both. You can never say that these are female, these are male. So those are just those are examples of the hermaphrodite, or what we call the sexless non-threaded couplings. If you look, they also have an advantage, because if you lock them nice collectly, they will give you a good service. And also they are more durable, because they don't get damaged easily as the threaded one. Next. This is a question that I wanted us to ask ourselves I think we can have in groups, and then we talk about it after in like 5 minutes time. Please, Nancy.
Okay, so we will go into 3 groups. Just a moment for this to close up. And you want to do 5 minutes? Five minutes is okay?
Yeah, 5 minutes are okay.
Okay. Right.
Maybe you'd repeat the question again so that guys can get to know in the groups.
Richard, could you repeat the question again so they know what they're going to be doing in the groups?
Yeah. Check back to the slides, please.
I've got to work on one or the other. Just give me a moment here.
It's okay. Thank you.
We have, okay, for group 2, our points were durability, flexibility, the type of material, and the standard type for hose, that is firefighting, the size and the diameter, and also the NFPA standard type of hose to be used in firefighting, and lastly, the user of the hose.
Yeah, that's very good, Errol. Can you have the next, guys?
Thank you.
Peter, from our group, you can go ahead. Peter or Caleb.
Okay, yeah, guys, we actually got almost the same things in different terms. From our group, we talked of the material as well, the material that used to make the hoses. Yes. We talked of the coupling types also. Yeah, and we talked, Jose just remind me, the last one is going away. We gave 3 characteristics. We talked of the material. We talked of the coupling types. Nah, the last one I'm actually forgetting. Yeah. Yeah, also the diameter, yes, the size, for real.
That's very good, guys. Was the other group? We were 3 groups, huh?
Yes, there were 3 groups. The third one was the group that you were in.
That's the group that I was in. So thank you so much, guys, for that. If you realize that one thing, we have one thing in common, that we have to look at materials, the materials that are supposed to be used. Then the other thing is about flexibility. We don't have to be going to the shop buying hose every day in, every day out. And also we can also look at the coupling. The couplings is also a challenge that we have, because we have couplings that come and there should not be so much leakage in them. The other thing I wanted to add is about the length also. If you look at the hoses, if a hose we have the standard that is 15 meters and 30 meters. If you look at the 2 lengths, you can have maybe you are extinguishing a fire from a far direction. So you need to have some longer horses that are so that you can be able to use in easily and accessible. Then the other thing that I was happy about the errors group, they also said about the horse user himself, or the horse users are themselves. Because the horse user or the firefighter who is using the horse, they should also be up to date with the standards. They should also have their time everyone they should be also in a good condition to use the same horses. Are we in agreement? Yeah, we can.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then the second we have the second objective. We will be learning about description. This is just horse damage. Now we go to the horse damage. Then we have mechanical. The mechanical means it's something physical. Eh? So we have slices, rips, abrasions, crashes, and cracks. Abrasions is when a horse it's dragged on hard surface, on rough surfaces. Then crash happens when we allow the bypassers or other vehicles to step over the horse. Instead of us using the horse clamps and the horse bridge, we don't. Then cracks is when we have prolonged prolonged storage of the horses, and when they are washed, you put them outside to burn with the sun. Good. Next. For prevention, this is what we can do. You can avoid contact services with rough. Like for example, when we are using them on rough surfaces, like on widow pails, we make sure that the grasses it's completely moved. We can also use horse lugs or horseshoes or horse rods that you place on top of the horse, and then if you are dragging now, it will not be on the surface, but it will be moving over the horse rods. Then we have generally we have talked about everything. We clear broken grasses. You prevent from vehicles from running over them. That's when we said use horse clamp or horse bridge. Next, please. We also have avoid water hammers. This is when you open the valves at a very like abrupt at a very high speed, and then the horse the water will flow once, so it can burst the horse. This is where we say please close slowly or open slowly to avoid water hammering. Then you deploy. Then avoid excessive pressure. Excessive pressure is #1 cause of horse damage within our locality, because this is where you use the pump operator gives you a lot of pressure other than what the horse can manage, so it can be harmful. It can damage the horse and also it can also injure the fireman who is on the horse, but the firefighters who are using the horse. Then the other thing is, let's to have the culture of cleaning horse before reloading them. After every call, let's try to have that part. We can wash the horses, we clean them, and then we can continue with them. Then the other thing is you don't fold the horse in one direction all the times, because it will tend to have weaknesses on that point, and that will cause the horse to leak out. It will damage the integrity of the horse. Next. These are some of we're dealing with thermal damages. This is what damage it's overexposure to cold or overexposure to very hot conditions. Like the condition we are in locally here in Kenya, at time is very hot. So you have to have a way that we can be able to store our horses at least on on not too much or too cold, too much heat or too much cold. Because if you know, if like in winter, that's when you have too much ice on the surface. So they'll pack on the horses, and then if you go to stretch them, they'll form like sharp edge, and they'll cut the horse. Then on heat, sun always reduces the durability of that. Next. We have discovered about too much heat, it will destroy most of them, it tends to breach the horse. Too much cold, it will freeze the water inside the horse will freeze, and then it will form those small ices and sharp objects, sharp edges, and then they'll damage the horse. They will be, as time moves on, it will be damaged and have some breakages. Go next. Organic, the organic damage, it's when we have molds, or what you call the horse was washed and it didn't dry completely. It will have the effect. The bacteria, the bacteria inside the storeroom, they start getting some molds, and then the molds will produce more of the chemicals after a period, and then they'll start eating up, or they will start corroding the surfaces. To prevent organic damage, let's try to have this culture of washing our horses. As you wash the tunic and the fire engine, we take them for services. Let's also wash even the horses, to avoid the debris that were caught up on the horse, so that they cannot bring about the organic damage. It's also, now we have chemical damages. Chemical damages means that something that are reactions. For example, these are petroleum products, paints, acids, and alkalis. We know when it's too much acidic and too much alkalic, it will corrode the horse. Then we avoid battery acids. When you are going for vehicle extrication, we try to avoid them. If they ever comes to contact with our horses, let's get a point of washing them. Then the other thing is runoff water. Runoff water is when you leave the horses outside when it's raining. Within the environment, we have contaminants that will always affect. They will come either acidic or alkaline. Leftovers of this is sulfuric acid from the battery acid. It will always it will affect the lifespan of the fire hose. Next. Prevention. This one, now we have to do this. We have to prevent chemicals. We prevent them. Avoid exposure to chemicals. Just as we go for decontamination on chemical exposures. As a firefighter, most of the time you find that when you go to hazmat or hazardous material rescue, we always have the tendency, we always have to go through under decontamination. So we should also do the same in the horses, because also the horses were exposed to such kind of to such chemicals that were also exposed to ourselves. So we should always try to clean them, make sure it's cleaned and stored. Then you can scrub them, you can wash the contaminated horses, make sure they are washed. The other thing is test periodically. let's keep track of testing our horses. The time that we have, there is always that free time that we always have, some few minutes here and there that we are not always on call. Let's use that time to test the horses so that we can, if you go to to a rescue or to a fire suppression unit, we won't find them that they're already damaged, and we will have known it before we go for the after we go for the test. The other one is for the horses, we can be able to dispose them. If it's a damaged horse and you have your own procedures on how okay, you can have the procedures in your local fire stations where we say like a horse has gone for this, it had been damaged to this percentage. Now that horse can be laid off and it can be taken to rest. That is now, it's when now you dispose it off. When it's too much exposed, too much damaged, and also when it's aged. The houses that you might find, they are not damaged, but they are also aged. So in terms of too much, or in case that you have to add to use higher pressure than the normal one, so the horse will be damaged. Next. This now we look, collision also happens in couplings. The damaged, if an example, like there's a time we went for an extrication, and some of there's an acid, battery acids. It was one of the coupling was exposed to that. At times, as we moved on, no one noticed what happened. But when we went to a scene of fire, the coupling just busted out, and then we had now to go back and ask and get another coupling. So that's when we're saying you have to make sure that you service them, you wash them, and then like the blast and the aluminum couplings, most of them always have an issue with collisions. So let's take care of our houses in fire stations. This is what we had talked about. Aged and deterioration is it's a cause of. If a horse is used for a long time, it gets aged. So what we do, you have to have a procedure. You can lay them off. You can also reload loosely with few folds. That what we can use a horseshoe or what we call the back foot. You can also, the other thing is remove from the tower once it's dry. It should not be overexposed to heat or overexposed to cold season. If like for example, when you wash a horse, you should not dry it in direct sunlight, because we know that will affect that. So you have to have at least somewhere that it's closed, it's covered away from direct sun. And immediately if it's dried up, make sure you get it and then you store it on a good side, on a good storage place. Next. These, as we wind up, I wanted us to have such a question too that will always enable us, so now we can be able to reflect. Please, Madam Nancy.
Okay.
Can you have someone to present the groups?
Jose, are you taking it up or I talk again?
Please take it up, Caleb.
Well, thank you. Sorry.
It's okay, Caleb.
Yeah.
From Zambia.
Yeah, thermal damage. Yeah, thank you very much. Thermal damage and corrosion. When we talk of thermal damage, we see houses getting damaged by being exposed to excessive heat, and corrosion comes by houses getting exposed to excessive cold temperatures. And a common result in all, we see that we'll have charring, melting or freezing of houses, and they get damaged. This is in short what we discussed with Bwana Jose.
Thanks a lot, Caleb.
That's great, Mr. Jose and Caleb. That's good. The next group, please.
Group 2.
Go ahead, group 2. That was Errol and Francis, Peter, and
Group 2, guys.
Hi.
Error was taking our notes.
it looks like we might have lost Errol. Richard, because of the time, we might need to just go ahead and summarize and wrap up for today.
Yes, well, if you look at the question, it was about difference between thermal damage and collisions. Huh? Thermal is either too much hot or too much cold. So thermal is caused by either heat, so much heat, like what we face in fireplaces or fire incidents. We have a lot of heat, and also when you expose the hoses as we clean them, and then we put them online outside the sun. So collision happens mostly with chemical damage. Chemical damage, there's petroleum products, petroleum and the like, paints, and those are things that cost. So it has, depending on which side you are, they either have difference or they are almost the same. But what will happen? Both of them will cause damage on the fire. Are we good? We can go to the next slide, please.
Okay. We are out of time for today, but perhaps we can pick up this conversation in one of our future trainings and continue our discussion on hose operations. Will that work for you, Richard?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for an excellent presentation today. There's absolutely more time for discussion here today, and we'll invite Richard back to continue this conversation in a future training. Next week, our instructor is Howard, and I forget what we're talking about next week, so let me bring that up real quick. So Howard Cohen is a chief fire officer in the United States, and he's actually a chaplain and volunteer, as I mentioned, a volunteer. So really excited to have him next week to talk about, we'll again be revisiting that topic of scene size up from a different perspective. And actually Howard will be with us for 2 weeks in a row to talk about scene size up and then ventilation and flow path. So next week we'll continue that conversation, and we'll work to get Richard back on the schedule soon to continue the conversation on hose operations. So thank you everyone for attending today. We appreciate you being here, and I will pass it off to Jose for our tea time and any remaining conversation that we want to have on the topic.